Welcome to Out of Body Experience TV. I'm your host, Juan Augusto. I'm here with a co host, Propagate This Light. He just recently joined the group, so give it up for Propagate This Light. Today, we're going to be talking about Mandela Effect, out of body experiences, lucid dreaming, and all that jazz. We're going to go through some member posts as well, try to answer some of the posts. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. We'll try to answer them to the best of our ability. And yeah, so how are you, Prop? You there, Prop? I guess he's still on mute right now. Anyhow, so
I'm off mute.
okay.
I'm doing great. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. So today we're going to be talking about a variety of topics: Mandela effect, out of body experiences, lucid dreaming. Propagate. I wanted to ask you, what was your most memorable lucid dream?
Okay. My most memorable one would be I was dreaming about I was in the kitchen of one of the houses I used to stay in, and somewhere along the line of dreaming that dream, I was in that kitchen with other people, and it was as a dream, and then somewhere along the line I became lucid. When I became lucid, um, I was aware of the other people in the kitchen, and I was aware that I was in the kitchen. And I said, well, man, okay, so since I'm in this space now, let me this is gonna be funny. Oh, I am a male. So at the time I was like, well, let me conjure up this really nice looking Asian woman.
Okay.
you know, and so I'm in the kitchen and she comes walking around the corner into the kitchen just out the blue. And when
Mm-hmm.
that happened, I somehow started to it started to become dreamy again. I started to wake up, but that taught me a lot about what the nature of reality may be, especially with the Mandela effect.
So I'd like to hear your opinion on that. When you said the nature of reality, what do you think lucid dreaming is?
Um, I don't even know, to be honest with you. Um, we could be on the astral realm and we just become aware. I'm heard that a lot of our dream space is on the astral realm, but I'm not
Okay.
exactly sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because I like hearing other people's opinion in regards to where you think we go, what we do, is because a lot of people talk about astral projection is lucid dreaming is astral projection. There's that debate, but like for me, I like throwing out the different theories out there. Like for instance, when the mind is thinking and you're like, oh, let the imagination run wild. So
Mm,
I enjoy when, like for instance, I think dreaming, you can possibly be in an altered reality, a different reality where you're experiencing that. So basically, what you experienced with you conjuring up the Asian woman, that happened in another reality where the laws of physics, I guess, is different than what we have here.
mm-hmm. Right. So that's similar to what I just said. I would say. Um, would you agree that maybe the astral realm is where it's taking place at, or somewhere else?
That's a good one. Could be both, maybe. It's like because here's the thing: is there's a lot of things that we don't know. Like even I'm 44, and I'm even questioning. There's more to this reality and other realities out there that we really haven't even grasped our imagination around. You know what I mean? And especially in regards to the Mandela effect, a lot of people don't even know what the Mandela effect is, right? And some people call it, oh, bull crap. And some people say, oh, no, you're just misremembering. But that's the interesting debate, because if I would have told you many years ago, or like somebody would have told me, oh, yeah, you know what, your consciousness can leave your physical body and you can travel in the astral realm, I would have thought you were nuts. But here we go. You know what I mean? I experienced astral projection, and it's amazing. For the Mandela effect, it hit me like, how do I say it? Deja vu. So, for instance, when I experienced the Mandela effect, I was questioning reality because it hit me like deja vu. And I'm thinking the first one for me was JFK. Now, a lot of people think there was 4 people in the car when JFK was killed, right? And if you look in any reality, like if you look on the internet, there's 6 people in that car. But it seems foreign to me when I see the big car as opposed to my memory being a small car and there were 4 people. Now there's 6. And I remember even one time on a live broadcast, I actually blew someone's mind when they were listening to what I was saying. And they're like, "What do you mean? 4 people in a car?" And or they were saying, "Oh, 6 people? What are you talking about?" So I told them, "Go look." And they were in the military, right? So he ended up looking at it and he was literally mind blown, and he needed to take a break from the group because it hit him so much. You know what I mean? So the JFK one for me is the big one. What is the big one for you?
Mm. The big one for me, I would say the anchor one, is actually the biggest ones for me. It was two of them. Is a Bible changed the what is that? Heavens, and
Okay.
also the Costco one with the T.
Oh yeah, yeah, Costco, that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, if anyone has any comments or questions, feel free to ask. Thank you for joining. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the thumbs up. Um, the second one for me in the Mandela effect was Gene Wilder. And here, remember, we were talking about time slips. I think I had a time slip in my experience because here's the thing, I was at work eating my lunch, and all of a sudden, I'm reading the paper, I'm reading the newspaper, and I see vividly, clear as day, Gene Wilder passes away. I think it was due to cancer, I believe. But either way, it was in an entertainment section and he passed away, right? So I was like, I remember it. Oh, how sad, right? Didn't think anything of it until I went home and I was watching Entertainment Tonight. And then I would see the tribute for Gene Wilder. And then I would watch the Inside Edition, all these entertainment shows giving their respects to Gene Wilder because he passed away. Vivid as day. I'm telling you, like I'm talking into this microphone. So vivid. And then I went to sleep and I woke up the next day. Didn't think anything of it. A year later, about a year and a half later, I'm on the Facebook timeline and I'm seeing rest in peace, Gene Wilder. So I immediately said to myself, oh, this must be an old post because he already passed away. Right. And I'm looking at the timestamp. It's that day. You know what I mean? I'm like, wait, wait, wait. And then I see another rest in peace Gene Wilder on Facebook timeline. So I went on Twitter. Gene Wilder passing away on Twitter was trending that day. I was like, no, no freaking way. He already died. I'm like, nope. I'm looking further on the timeline. He passed away that day. So it blew my freaking mind. And then I looked further, and what do you think I see in the comment section? Oh, this guy's died before. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We present to you the Mandela effect. Hey, Sarah, how's
Yes,
it going?
yes.
So, yeah, that was my time slip moment. I was just blown a freaking way. See, Sarah says now I have to go look because I thought there were only 4, and now she's blown away. I was like, wow. So, those are my 2. The third one was Um, let's see, what was my third one? Oh, I think everybody knows this one. You know this one. You know where I'm going with this one. Ed McMahon and Publishers Clearinghouse. That one, just everybody, I think, has that answer. Oh, Publishers Clearinghouse. Who was the spokesperson? Ed McMahon. Ed McMahon. I literally asked my manager this question because he's around my age, a little younger, a little more younger, maybe 5 years younger. And I asked him, who's the Publishers Clearinghouse spokesperson? Ed McMahon. Are you sure? I asked. And he's like, yeah, clear as day. So then when I showed him the Forbes.com article saying that he was never part of Publishers Clearinghouse and that Publishers Clearinghouse never used a celebrity spokesperson, he turned white as a ghost. He did not want to pursue it. And seeing his reaction intrigued me because I wanted to pursue this. I was like, oh, so you want to talk about it? He's like, no, one. I don't want to talk about it. He was literally mind blown because the reality that he knew Ed McMahon and he did not handle it well. And that's the thing. A lot of people are not going to be able to handle it because you're seeing people are calling it the Great Awakening as to what's going on right now. A lot of people are waking up with this, when we were on lockdown, a lot of people had time to research, to dig, to do a lot of inner soul searching, so to speak. And they were finding a lot of things about themselves, about reality, about Mandela effect, about everything, pretty much. So I was intrigued by that. But he did not want to pursue it. I think I blew him away when he was like, "Nope, I don't want to talk about it." I was like, "Okay."
Right. Right. Yeah. Sometimes we get these responses. I've gotten a lot of different responses as well that are similar, and it's kind of weird because it's you would think, well, at least in our mind, that it's so extraordinary that how come a person doesn't want to talk about it. And it's nothing negative. I'm assuming that you don't think it's anything negative. And it's positive. You just want to learn more about something that's positive, that you think is positive, that's actually extraordinary as well. Um, but it's good to be able to be here and to talk to somebody that you can go further with it.
Definitely, I agree. I totally agree.
Hmm. Yeah. So that'll be your third effect.
Yeah, that was my third one. Those are the big three, as I call them, right? And here's the thing. And there was another one. It See this one. I don't know about this one. I'm partially 50-50 on this one, but like remember 9/11, the hotel. Now, it, here's the thing. When 9/11 happened, it was so impactful on everybody. In the 19 years or the 18 years, we're 20, the 19 years that passed, never did I see any tributes for the hotel, because apparently now there were people in the hotel who passed away, right? But like in the 19 years, I could be wrong, maybe there was, maybe I missed it, but I thought it was intriguing because like I didn't ever see a hotel in the tributes for the 19 years. Do you know what I mean? So that one, I'm kind of 50-50 on that one, right? What about you? Do you remember the hotel?
No, I don't remember the hotel at all. I don't remember a hotel being there, but at the same time, I'd never been to that city before. And the footage that I've seen, I didn't see any hotel there. From my memory. And when
Okay.
I did, yeah, yeah. And when I did see pictures of the hotel, I'm like, wait a minute, it looks strange to me just looking at it. It's kind of like, why would there be a hotel right in the middle like that? It.
Exactly, I totally agree. Now, here's the thing. Here's a question. Like for me, what if when we astral project, we are jumping different realities? So, for instance, you know how there's the multiverse theory, and that's a theory that is basically, scientists talk about the multiverse theory, right? Where for every decision that we did not make, that it's being played out on an alternate reality, which I find fascinating. I'm totally blown away by that. So again, if when we meditate, we astral project, we are accessing our higher self, our astral body, and we are literally jumping realities and we don't even know it. But here's the thing, when we return, we are not in that specific reality that we when we started. So when we come back, and then you come back and you notice the difference. Hey, JFK, four in a car, six in a car. Uh, Publishers Clearinghouse, Ed McMahon was never the host of the show. So what if in one of your astral travels or my astral travels, we shifted? Do you know what I mean?
I definitely know what you mean. I don't know if that's what the case is, but I have thought about that because I've had my experiences so called out of the body as well, and it just makes me think that maybe when we do come back, we're coming back to a different version of us. I think it may be possible. I have seen what I call a vortex before on what I call the other side. Um, it may be a possibility that I went through the vortex and came back to a different version of myself, being that my spiritual the spiritual version of myself, me myself that's speaking right now, the inside of the body, maybe I somehow expanded my consciousness somehow, or some type of vibration I became on, which sent me to a different version of myself, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to explain it the best way I can. um I'm explaining it correctly in my mind, but when I'm saying it, it's not coming out right. But I guess what I'm saying is that our vibration may have changed along the way, and then when we came back to a different version of ourselves based on that vibration. Maybe that's so. I don't know. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, no, it's a great debate. It's a great topic for debate. Um, so let's go through. I'm gonna go through some of the comments in the group. So just give me 1 second here. So if anyone has any comments or questions, feel free to ask. Let's see. But we have like 60,000 members within the group. So this group is growing faster and faster. Or it's growing fast. And you just recently joined the group. And are you uh, are you an active member? Like, do you post a lot, or do you have, or you just read some of the comments or questions?
Right now, I haven't been that interactive in the group. I've posted recently, um, the last stream that we did for my channel. But I haven't. I bounce back and forth. I'm doing different things here and there, but I have not yet really checked it out. But I've seen some posts come up that are very interesting. So that's on my to-do list to really interact with people and to see what's on that page a lot more than I have.
So I'm gonna ask you some of the questions that some of the members posted, and I want to get your feedback. Let's see. So here's a post from Mike Jarvis. He asks, excuse me. He says, "I really think some people are just not allowed to astral project. What do you think? Yes or no?"
Um, I would disagree.
Okay. Yeah, same here. I think it's within everyone. I guess some people are not at the they haven't like raised their vibration maybe enough. And like for instance, we'll use myself as an example. I didn't want this to happen. It happened. So it happened reluctantly for me, and I was wondering, heck, what the hell is going on? Right? I started feeling these vibrations, and I started seeing a stream of white light, and then the noise through the ears, and I'm just like, I don't want this to happen, but it happened. So I decided to learn, do some research and figure out, you know, what it was, and the rest is history, so to speak.
Right, right. It's funny that you say that, and you say the rest is history right after it. That's cool.
So here's another one from Adina. Remembering your past lives will make you fall in love with yourself.
Um, your past life will make you fall in love with yourself. I
Yeah, it
miss.
says remembering your past lives will make you fall in love with yourself. I don't know about that question.
Well, I would say, if we're trying to bring everything together of who we are, when people say like there's aspects of us that's out there and we're all just coming together. I guess in that sense, it could make sense because you're learning about yourself and you have more of yourself within you, if that makes any sense. You're learning more about yourself. Um, and you can love yourself a little bit more by having a more expanded awareness about yourself, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hear it. Some of the comments though, of reading some of the comments. Um, Uzias Duarte says, "I really don't think so. What if I was a Nazi?" Yeah. Ryan says, "I hope to know mine before this life is a past life." Let's see. Jason asks, "Can anyone ask, or sorry, can anyone recommend a guided meditation for this?" Um, have you tried accessing your past lives? Through the Akashic records.
I'm still learning about that. I've had a situation though that's similar, but I haven't, as far as accessing Akashic records, um, I haven't seen that place. I've heard people talk about it. I don't know much. I do know the basic information about that.
Yeah, I find that interesting. The whole Akashic records. Um, I've read several books on how to access it. I don't think I've tried and never happened. Or maybe who knows? Maybe what if, like, getting back to the dream part of it? What if when we dream, we are accessing our past lives? So some of those dreams that you have or I have, they're so impactful. Maybe um, we are learning something as we sleep for our present time. Do you know what I mean? So maybe there was a valuable lesson to be learned within that dream state, or that experience. And then when we wake up, we take away from that. We're like, oh my gosh, wow. I'm just like, damn. Because I remember having several dreams where it was so impactful, and I took away from that. I was like, wow. So what if that was a lesson in a past life that was learned, but it stays within our astral body or our soul, right? You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, exactly. I know exactly what you mean. Um, I heard information stating that maybe some of the dream space is kind of like a simulation, maybe, or to
Mhm.
where we will learn certain things from it, and then, like you said, we'll take from it and then apply it to our, I guess you could say, physical life, the surface physical life.
So in the comment section, there's Sarah says, "Damn, I have the attention span of a lampshade. I've missed a lot now from looking for the JFK stuff." Andre says, "Guys, what is your opinion on destiny versus parallel worlds? What I mean to say is, I used to believe that a person's destiny is fixed no matter what path he chooses to take, he will end up in the same endpoint, and that some people are destined to come into your life. But then I discovered parallel worlds theory, which tells us, sorry, it scrolled up there, which tells you that there are infinite versions of yourself, each embracing in a different direction. Let's see. This has been on my mind for quite a while, and I can't seem to find a definitive answer for myself." So, getting to the parallel worlds, do you think your path is, how do I say it? Do you think your destiny is fixed, or there's multiple timelines that you could take?
Wow. I'm
Deep
leaning more.
question.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it may be so is that your destiny is fixed in the timeline that you're in, and we are able to bounce to different timelines. Maybe that's the case.
Interesting question. You know what I think of when I saw this question? Um, Terminator 2, Sarah Connor. Sarah Connor, when she says when she's gonna go kill Miles Dyson, and then because they're like, oh, the future hasn't been set. So if she kills Miles Dyson, then the future will never be set, right?
Right.
So yeah, I think there's multiple timelines, right? So there are infinite versions of each and every one of us, right? And wherever you go, like whatever isn't played out, it is being played out in a parallel dimension, alternate reality. Which begs the question: what is quantum jumping? That's another topic.
Yeah. Quantum jumping. What is that actually? I need to be refreshed on that. I think quantum jumping is more so like you're in one place and then you're in another place just that quick, right?
Yeah, quantum jumping. I saw my cousin actually introduced me to quantum jumping. There was this guy on YouTube talking about how he goes into like some kind of meditative state. His name is Burt Goldman on YouTube, uh, and he goes visits his doppelganger, his second, his other self, his other version, and in this state, he's able to access some of the things that he was never able to do in this reality. So, for instance, in one, he didn't know how to paint, he didn't know how to play the piano. And when he went to that altered state, or his doppelganger, that other doppelganger knew how to paint and do the piano, play the piano. So when he came back, he brought back that knowledge. I thought it was intriguing. I was like, "Whoa, that's far off." It's hard to believe because you're like thinking, "No, this guy's scamming," right? But again, right, when you tell somebody about astral projection, they're gonna look at us as like, "What are you talking about? Leaving the confines of your body and going on to the astral plane?" They're gonna think you're nuts. Again, a lot of people haven't experienced this sort of stuff, so they don't know, right?
Exactly, exactly. I mean, yeah, I'm familiar with Burt Goldman. He goes back to like, man, 1979. I mean, what he wrote 4 books or something like that.
Oh, you
Um,
know Burt Goldman? Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because when you're talking about him, I recall that story of him, um, what you were just saying. So yeah, definitely.
Well, I tried that meditation. I sat in the chair. I had ear. I was gonna say earmuffs, earbuds in my ears, and I was meditating to what he was saying in his exercises. And I tell you, what happened was a trip and a half, because all of a sudden I was sitting down with the earbuds in my ears, and I was in this different state of consciousness. I was in space, and I was going through space at a speed, uncontrollable speed. It was amazing. And I was aware of this, of what I was experiencing. I wasn't asleep or anything like that. I was in this meditative state, but I was experiencing that. And then the doppelganger part, it was as I was experiencing another version of myself, which was a trip and a half because in this experience, I was stumbling and bumbling and walking up the stairs like I had been beaten, like I had my energy zapped. So I'm here walking up the stairs, and then I approach the bathroom in this experience, and then I see my father in this reality, but I see him in the in the bathroom shaving his the beard with a razor, and then I see myself in the mirror, and I'm battered and bruised, and then I fall to the ground. So I wake up in a hospital, and I'm in a wheelchair because I'd been beaten up, and I'm here with earbuds in my ears sitting in this wheelchair, and I'm looking around and I see the orderlies tending to me, and I'm thinking I want to get out of here. I want to go because I was like I couldn't move. I was in a vegetative state in this experience, and as I had the earbuds in my ears, I'm like thinking I want to come back. I want to come back. I was like I want to come back, and then boom, I got out of my chair with the earbuds in my ears, and I was like, holy freaking, you know what? It was a trip.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be tripping out too. It sounds like you was in a reality where maybe you've been jumped by some people or something like that. I don't know why I picked that up. I just kind of came to me when you were talking.
I could see that. I was like, it was just, it was so vivid, like what he was talking about. Because remember what he in his videos, he took away the knowledge from his doppelganger. According to him, he brought back playing the piano. He brought back the art, doing art. And then when he came back to this reality, his reality, our reality, he was more into, he was doing paintings and he was playing the piano. And he says, so he states, that he'd never learned how to play the piano in his reality, which is our reality. He'd never learned how to paint, right? So everybody was like, oh, wow. So they wanted to learn, well, what the hell is quantum jumping? So I thought that was interesting.
Oh yeah, yeah. My doppelganger might be Prince. So if I start playing the piano, you know where it came from.
Yeah. Hey, Simon, how's it going? Simon's just joined us. He's one of the admins in the group. Hi, Simon.
Hey, what's up, Simon? Always follow what Simon says.
But yeah, Simon's cool. Simon just was recently added as an admin. He's very helpful. As you know, there's 60,000 members in the group, and we need all the help we can get.
That'll work. I appreciate that. That's really nice. And speaking of Simon says, did you know that the Google, this is off topic, but did you know that the Google logo looks like a Simon Says game?
I thought it looked like the 666 or the new
Hmm.
one. Is there a new logo?
No, you know the when you're using your computer and you have the icon on the bottom of your screen.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. I see it. I see it. I
hmm
actually have it on my screen right now. Yeah, you're right.
So always follow what Simon says.
So let's go through the other questions through the member posts. And here's the thing. Um, let's see. I'm just scrolling down here. So Madison, one of the members, says, "I'm going to try again tonight because last night I got scared and backed out. My boyfriend lives in Korea for the time being, and I want to visit. It's as easy as thinking go to Korea and focus on my boyfriend for me to visit over there. LOL. Any tips?" Um, so basically, she wants to go visit her boyfriend astral projecting to her boyfriend in Korea. Now, I don't suggest trying to say go to Korea because I've done this before when I went to go visit my mom. My mom was in Ecuador, I was in Toronto. So I said to myself, Ecuador, Ecuador, go visit my mom in Ecuador, Ecuador. So my thought process was go to Ecuador. I was vague, right? Ecuador is huge, right? So when I was astral projecting, I was traveling so fast, right? Instantaneously. All of a sudden I'm in a backyard and I'm looking around and I could feel the environment. I could feel the heat. It was an amazing feeling. But I'm looking and I'm in a backyard and it looked like Ecuador. It appeared to be Ecuador. But I see a woman, she was sweeping. And I mentioned this before in a previous podcast. And I said to the lady, or I didn't say to the lady, I was looking at the lady and she was sweeping. And she looked back at me and started freaking out and waving the broom at me, saying, Quita de ahí, diablo, diablo, meaning, get out of here, you devil. So I'm thinking, did I go to Ecuador and scare the crap out of somebody? You know what I mean? All I wanted to do was go visit my mom. So the thought process should have been visualize my mom, or I'm going to go visit my mom, right? And I tried that validation experiment in the past when I was learning how to do this. So if anyone wants the intent of going anywhere or to visit someone, you just visualize, be specific in your answer or where you want to go. Have you tried that, Prop?
No, I haven't actually. I haven't tried to what you call it, purposely initiate it. I just end up somewhere.
Like the roulette table. You know that little ball that spins on the roulette?
Right, right. It just ends up where it ends up.
So Propagate just posted his YouTube channel if you want to check it out. Talks about he does like a variety of podcasts with different YouTubers out there. He actually he interviewed me a while back, so I wanted to bring him on within the group and discuss all things paranormal, Mandela effect, astral projection related. And here's a question from Mahmoud. He asks, if astral projection is real and it's not a dream, did you try to prove that in real life? Like generating a random 4-digit number, then hiding it and reading it while astral projecting and checking if it's the same number. I find such evidence more realistic than I just know. Comment below. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that is a realistic way of doing things for you to validate what you're going through. Um, I've heard of doing things like that, seeing if you could find it when you're out of body and then, just validating it like that. That is a smart way of going about it. I have not did that myself. Um, Maybe I should.
So let's read some of the comments. I posted actually in this one. I posted 1000% real. Did several experiments for myself to see how far I can go with it. The number on the paper experiment kind of makes me laugh when someone brings that up, because I say either go big or go home when trying to verify or give quote unquote proof. Anyhow, ultimately the proof that you seek is within you. You know the saying, the proof is in the pudding. Let us know how that experiment goes. Mahmoud says, I surely will try it myself when I have an astral projection did not have yet. Sarah says, you would never be able to successfully complete an experiment during your first astral projection. Not a chance. It takes much experience. I've been astral projecting since I was about 5 years old, and I only started to be able to master some control in the past 10 years. Yeah. So basically, Is it real? Absolutely, right? Um, the 4 digit number thing, I don't really like that one, in my opinion. I think because here's the thing: when trying to read stuff, when I projected, I noticed it was blurry. I couldn't really make out the text in some of the projections. So if you were to try that, maybe you'd fail on the first try, maybe trying it the second time or third time. But for me, I tried consoling my mom, and I mentioned this before in a previous podcast. I went to go console my mom on the cheek because she was feeling ill. Nothing serious, but I got that validation from my mom because I touched her on the cheek. My hand and ended up going through her cheek. So I felt as I did that, I felt the energy between my astral hand and when I made the connection with her cheek. She felt it that she jumped out of bed, and I saw her jump out of bed, which made me go back to my physical body. And I got up and I'm going to the fridge, got a bottle of water, and I see my mom coming out of the room. And she literally was like, Juan, were you just in my room? And I asked her why. And I sort of knew where this was going because of the experience. And she said, oh, because I could have sworn I felt you touch me on the cheek. My jaw hit the ground when she told me that because that was validation for me that this was possible. She told me, don't ever do that again. You're going to give me a heart attack, though. I thought that was kind of funny. Sorry to say that. I didn't intend to do it out of malice. I was doing it out of love, consolation of my mom. But I think it's to do that, it's the connection was strong or is strong between mother and son, right? So maybe that's why it worked. Would you try that prop?
Yeah, I'm not against trying something like that, and that'll be a good validation to the experience. But I've had other experiences out of the body, but not interacting with a person that I know. But I've interacted with somebody else or other with others. I'll just put it like that.
So let's go through some of the other posts here. Let's see.
There's one for my life in there as well.
Oh, wait a second. Let me see. One sec. Dum, 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 dum. What was that about my life?
She was just trying to view the broadcast by getting into the group.
Okay. Well, she's joined the group. Oh, cool. Let's see. Dum, dum, dum.
She said she sent the group request just like 5 minutes ago.
Okay. Here, let me add. Let's see. 1 second. Dun, 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 dun. Approved. I'll tell her to do it again. I don't think it went through.
Sounds good.
Hey Simon, the member that's just approve her. If you beat me to the punch, Heather. So let's see. Dun, dun, dun. We're gonna go through this one. Okay, so Mandela effects. Have you experienced any Mandela effects lately?
Okay. My most recent one is actually would be considered an old one for some people, maybe, and it's an old one that I've heard about. Well, I was on Twitter recently, and I seen that Vaseline was trending, and I'm looking at it and I'm saying to myself that this is the way that I remember it being spelled, VASE. It was recent. It recently went from that to VASO, and then back to the E again. So I seen that on Twitter. It went back to the E. I said, "Well, this is a residual." So I said, "I know someone that made a video about it, money bags." So I know he made a video about it. Excuse me. So I went there to even verify it there, and the information on his video was reversed. uh, his information was reversed from the way it was.
Okay, the flip flops.
Yes,
There are a lot of
yep,
there are a lot of flip flops. I know. I find it.
right, right. And he makes the second person on YouTube. You know, the first person that this happened with was it was somebody else, and then it was him as well, where the video information was different than it was the first time. And then so I spoke to Moneybags last night through chat, and he was saying that others have said that others have said something similar. From what I'm saying.
So where do you see this? The end game of the Mandela effect. Like, what's the end game? Is it the 3D to 5D convergence that everybody keeps on talking about? Because I don't know if you heard about that one. Right? There's that shift that right now, what we're experiencing, the Great Awakening, as people are calling it, and that we are starting to, like, remember the lockdown gave us a lot of time to think. A lot of, the the lockdown gave us time to research. You know what I mean? And we're waking up to, like, the celebrities. We're waking up to, a lot of things. We're, raising our consciousness, right? To the point where the individuals who are living in fear, who have hate, or who have a lot of the negative vibrations are going to be 3D. The individuals who are quote unquote awake and raising their vibration by meditation and research and finding out a lot of the stuff that are going on in the world are going to go into a different vibration, i.e. 5D. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've heard of this before. You know, people of certain vibrations going to where, going to a different place or whatnot. I'm not exactly sure. I did hear about that. But I say, whether whoever it is, whatever vibration you are, you could be Michael Jordan, you could be a construction worker, you could be yourself. You know, I will stay focused on yourself and the people that you're involved. Make sure that you propagate light. Like my name is, you know, um,
I like
that is
that.
if you want to go in a certain direction. If you're, yeah, if your desired direction is positive, then I
Mm-hmm.
would say to go in a positive direction and to you know, be that within your being, and then you will
Yeah.
emit that into your reality, and it's not going to really matter what's going on in the current events because it's all going to be good for you if you do it that way, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's an interesting thought. It's like, because you see the world the way it is right now, the lockdown and all that. There are a lot of people living in fear. They have that. I'm just like, it's tough to see. Like the whole, um, you know, I won't get into the mask debate because that's another topic. But in general, it's just like during the lockdown, I started reading more, like, exploring the fifth dimension, the psychic in you, all these different books, Soul Traveler, Adventures Beyond the Body. So I started going back into reading those books and because I read those books a long time ago, but I wanted to refresh my mind, my quote unquote goal towards what I wanted to achieve in with learning all this stuff.
Right, right. I feel the exact same way. Um, and it helps, when you learn this type of stuff, or this topic here, at least to me, um, it helps me out because it feeds my spirit. It feeds who I am. I am the spirit. I need that. I need more than just what's on the surface. It took me a while to get out of survival mode. So I would tell a person to control your emotions, get out of survival mode. I mean, you could know about the ME effect, certain things about the nature of reality, but you could you could falter easy. If you're not careful, if you don't navigate yourself, if you don't drive yourself like you drive a car, and be very careful of the direction you're going in and what you're thinking. So you have to control what's inside of the car for it to travel a certain way. And sometimes you just don't know. You know what I mean? So I wish everybody luck. I wish myself luck. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, 2 seconds from now. But what I'm doing is pretty much pigging into positivity. So, because I know I could affect other people with that as well, and hopefully I'll go into the right direction.
Yeah, like we are all connected, right? Like there was this one time where I was at a nightclub. This was when I was in my 20, I would say 25 maybe. I was dancing the night away at a nightclub, and there was this guy. He was staring at me the way I was dancing, so I was kind of like uncomfortable. Like, why is this guy looking at me? And then he came over to me and he says, "Hey, I just wanted to say I like the way you dance." And he shook my hand, and I said, "Thank you very much, and God bless you." So he wouldn't let go of my hand, and he asked me, "Why did you say that? Why did you say God bless you?" And I just told him that's the type of person I am. And he wouldn't let go of my hand. So I'm kind of like thinking, okay, I'm like, can I have my hand back? That's what I was thinking. I didn't say it out loud, but he wouldn't let go. And he said, everybody in this nightclub is concerned about getting laid and getting drunk. And why did you say, God bless you? He was taken aback by what I said. And then I said to him, I asked him, do you have 20 minutes? And this was near closing time. And I told him my out of body experiences. I tried to sum it up in 20 minutes, but obviously I couldn't do it. But I told him the gist of, how I lost faith, how I lost, I didn't really want to be here anymore with, in general, you know what I mean by that. And I hated life. And then I had the out of body experiences that changed my life. And, and he says to me, while shaking my hand, he didn't let go. And I was okay with it at this point because we were having a moment of, sharing the experiences. And he said to me, he says, you know what? Thank you. He goes, I think it was my destiny for me to be here and to hear your experiences, because I'm on the fence right now about a lot of things. And I thank you. That's what he said to me. And I was getting teary eyed. I was getting teary eyed at what he was saying. And you know what he did to me? He says, thank you and God bless you. And he touches me on the forehead, and then he leaves. His girlfriend wanted to leave already, but he was in that moment. I was in that moment. And just, you can make that connection with somebody that you don't even know, and you change their life. Like, I wonder what ever happened to this guy. I always have that in the back of my mind. Whatever happened to him? You know what I mean? Like, because remember, he said he was on the fence. He was on the fence about so many things. He had doubts. Oh, this and that. I was just taken aback by that.
Yeah, definitely. I would be too. Definitely. That was a really great experience.
It was memorable for sure. Hey, Prop, did you send the invite again to my life? I
Um,
tried I tried undoing the decline. I think she was declined by accident. Or
I let her know. I'm not sure if she got my message or not, and I'm not able to send anybody a request. I don't think.
in the meantime, I'll just
Hmm.
scroll down here. Well,
I
thank
have
you for joining.
okay, okay.
Oh, you were gonna say sorry?
Yeah, I have a quick experience. If you'd like to hear, is I think it's dealing with
Sure.
out of body. I wanted to ask you what you thought about this. This happened way back. I would say in the 2000s. I guess it doesn't matter when it happened, but it wasn't recent. But I was laying down one time, right, and then so I guess I was in between sleep and awake, and something leaped onto me. Like the best way I could. Okay, so a person would say, "Okay, how did you know that it leaped onto you?" I have no idea. I'm laying on my back, and then it just I felt the presence there, and the most I could say is that it seemed like it leaped from the the floor up onto me onto the bed, and it was on my chest, and so I felt like whatever it was holding me down, and I felt like that was one of the most scariest experiences that I had at that time. And so, long story short, um, I'm okay. So I'm clairvoyant, and I just know how to relax in certain situations as well, right? So I said, well, let me try to figure out what's going on here instead of panicking. So I somehow went into the mind of whatever it was, and the words came to me that this happens to everybody, while they're sleeping. So not to scare anyone, but in my time of going more deeper into what could be the information about what happened, what I came to realize is that um, everybody leaves their body when they sleep, and I think what happened was it was probably me out of body that I was feeling from my perspective, and that's why I was scared because I didn't know anything about that at the time. So it could have been just me out of my body on top of me. You know what I mean? So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I've heard of that. The sleep paralysis kind of thing? What's the thing called? The shadow person, or because there's many. I've heard it on the show Coast to Coast where they talk about the hag. I don't know if you ever heard of the hag that is like right beside your bed or whatever, and it's like this entity or whatever. Um, See, there's many interpretations because a lot of people have different kind of experiences. They have similar experiences as well. Um, they a lot of members have said, oh, that it could possibly be themselves. It could possibly be an entity, or it's just you're like you're hallucinating that because you're in that what's that hypnagogic state. I think that's the term.
Yes, yes,
Um, or like you said, not to scare anybody, but like here, I like to throw out all coins out there. All sides of the coin. Not saying it is, but I'm just saying because a lot of people say no, that's not them. It's not shadow people. They're not real. They're not real. It's your imagination. But like I like to, how I like to uh, for debate, topic of debate. What if what you were experiencing, that shadow person, is not you? What if it is what it appears to be? Because like a shadow person, what if it is another person that's astral projecting, that is on a lower vibrational frequency? So they're in real life, we're up to no good, And then when they're in the astral plane, they're still up to no good because they're on that lower vibration. Do you know what I'm saying? So, or could it be someone who was evil in life and they passed away, but they're stuck in that realm? So all they have is that negative vibrational frequency. You know what I mean? So when they were in real life, they were a horrendous person, but in the astral state, maybe they're stuck in limbo or whatever, and maybe they enjoyed doing what they were doing, like being a bad person. So they're staying within that astral realm, trying to inflict pain, just as they did in the real life, to other other astral travelers. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying it's definitive. I'm just throwing the idea out there, not to scare anybody, but you gotta have all possibilities. You know what I mean? Put on the table.
Oh yeah, definitely pass the salt. Um, yeah. So, are you saying that if that's the possibility to where it's someone else that has passed over, could they interact or affect uh the human in that state? And I would, before you answer that, more to my experience would be that, and this is weird because this kind of goes into like almost kind of like the thread of the Mandela effect. It's like all these synchronicities happen and things, right? So maybe a couple of days later, I went to my job. I'll re-ask the question, but this is more to my experience. A couple of days later, I went to my job that I had at the time. I was listening to radio, and then some guys showed up on there that they were interviewing, and so I'm working and we're listening to the radio, and then the guy said something about supernatural or something. But anyway, they had calls that came in, and I guess the topic was supernatural. I forgot the exact topic, dealing with supernatural things. So women called in saying that the exact same thing that happened to me a couple of nights prior. A lot of women ended up calling in saying that that's what happens to them, and they're actually interacting with whatever is going on there. And the guy was telling them that it's nothing to be worried about. Um, is I think he said something about it's them or something like that that they're dealing with, or they're out of body or something like that. So that gave me a different perspective. Um, maybe I'm out of body. But do you think that if it's something else, it can interact with the human?
I think, yeah, I have that. Here's the thing. I like to use the analogy like think of the astral realm like Twitter. You know what I mean? Everybody has an account on Twitter and you can interact with Alyssa Milano. You can interact with The Rock. You can interact with Lady Gaga. So think of the astral realm as Twitter, right? So you have an account, I have an account, right? So we can interact with one another in the astral realm, just like on Twitter, right? But in regards to the astral realm, sometimes we might not remember it, or we might have a dream. You know, do you get what I'm saying? So I think you can encounter different levels of beings, people. You may encounter people within the group. Who knows? But you don't remember it in the astral plane, or you know what I mean. So I think, yeah, the astral realm is huge, right? I think it's huge where you can interact with so many beings like on a different vibrational level.
Right, right. I mean, it would make sense if we're dealing with what we have here, which is we call Earth or our world, and there's so many people just in your city alone, or probably in your couple of blocks that you live. It would make sense that, being that we do know that we can be out of body, which means that there probably is a whole different Earth or a whole different environment that's probably more bigger than where we're at. Because there's been so many people that has passed on before us. Um, they all have to go somewhere, and some people, and I've heard also that this whole reincarnation thing. I'm not exactly sure about that, but I do have an experience of that's regarding that, but I'm not exactly sure what goes on when we pass over, if we're to come back um, and be someone else, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think it's an expansive place. It would make sense that it's a very big place, and there's a lot going on. So all we can do, in my opinion, all I can do is take it from my perspective of what I feel is going on, and just try to, just get more information and try to see what I resonate with. Um, Even if it's other beings out there or whatnot. I will go back to what I said earlier about just being as positive as you can, if that's where you want to be, and then just let everything else fall into place.
That's an interesting thing that you said. Like for instance, like here's the thing: we're starting to learn a lot more about this world, like the Great Awakening, I guess, so to speak, and being in lockdown and all that. So I just wanted to throw this out there. I'm not saying this is definitive. I like to throw different topics for debate. So what if that the way we were told about death has been totally wrong? Do you know what I mean? So the thing is that yes, we pass away. A lot of people grieve, but what if that when we pass away, we shift into another reality? So remember, there's that infinite possibilities, infinite. I'm not saying this is definitive. I'm just throwing out the idea out there that so, like for instance, if you pass away in your sleep, right, then perhaps you shift into another reality where that you in that other reality wakes up and is like, holy crap. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So it's an interesting thought because I've heard of people talking about having near death experiences, right? And they had that experience where they were on the they were having surgery, their hearts up, they were dead, and then they ended up coming back. So they say, right? So they're saying that. So here's my thing: what if they did pass away, but that version of themselves shifted into a different reality, i.e. Mandela effect? You know what I mean? So when they came back, so they mentioned they came back, but they didn't really come back into this reality. It's a different reality for them. But when they come to, they're looking and they're like, wait a second, something's not right here. Like Ed McMahon, you know what I mean? It's interesting. It's an interesting topic for debate. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what it is, as far as the ME. I was one of those people at one point was like, okay, it's just a game that somebody made up, until I started having my own experiences. And I don't feel that I passed away at that time when I first became aware. Um, but at the same time, I don't know, because I've had close situations. But at the time when I first became aware of the ME, um, again, I thought people were joking around, playing, and then I just created something in my own mind, and said that I'll look more into it if this thing changed, and it was something that I created in my mind. And I did speak about this before, but long story short, I went to that particular thing and it actually changed, and that was something that nobody was talking about. And then thereafter is when people started calling it a ME effect. And so I always lean on that experience, and I think it's important for me to bring it up because it brings some more insight into why I think about it the way I think about it. I just don't know. But this is good that you said that, because it made me think of that. Um, how can I create something in my mind, and then I go to that particular thing and it changed, and then all of a sudden everybody say, "Hey, it's the ME effect," Um, yeah. What about that part of it? How can that even be possible, that I'll create something in my mind and then and then that thing change?
Well, You heard of The Secret? The DVD The Secret, where you manifest things. What you think about, you bring about. And I find that interesting because I think us as human beings, I think we've been held numb, dumb, and then some by the powers that be. I don't think we were meant to be here working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day. I think we were made to, like, we were created to prosper, to be ascended beings, in my opinion. I think a lot of people will agree with me on that one. I don't think we were meant to be paying taxes to the GOV. You know what I mean? Working 40 hours a week, working hard, and then we're giving our money away to, I'm like, whatever. You know what I mean? I think, in my opinion, we should keep that money, but that's just me, right? I think we were meant to, how do I say it? Flourish. You know what I mean? Because basically, when we're born into this world, we are pretty much slaves. You know what I mean? We're grinding and all that, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Do you know what I mean? So I think as a society, we've been held numb, dumb, and then some, right? It just, you know what I mean? So I think we are capable of so many things. Like, for instance, you've heard of people having cases of bilocation, right? Being in two places at once, right? Manifesting things, right? So, for instance, the DVD The Secret talks about that. And in the DVD The Secret, they were talking about how they did a study at MIT, and the runner would run the 100 meters in real time. So he was connected with sensors all over his body, and he was running the 100-meter dash in real time, and the sensors would go off. Okay. And they asked him again to run the 100 meters in his mind. And I was like, listening to this, I'm like blown away by this. So the thing is that when he was running the 100 meters in his mind, the muscle patterns were going off just like he was running it in real time. And I was blown away by this because I was like, wait a second. The mind couldn't differentiate what he was doing in real time. You know what I mean? He was running this in his mind, and the same muscle patterns were going off as when he was running it in his mind. You know what I mean? So I said to myself, you know what? Let's try this experiment, because when they say the saying, proof is in the pudding. I like to have some of that pudding. You know what I mean? So I tried an experiment. I said, I am going to try to do 300 sit-ups in my mind. So in my mind, I visualized myself going to the gym, sitting in the machine, and this was what I was visualizing in my mind, right? So I sat in the machine, and then I was doing the crunches in my mind. Okay, so I'm here lying in my bed, and that's what I was visualizing. Okay, so I'm here visualizing that, and I was doing the crunches in my mind. I did 300 of them. I kid you not. After 50, I could feel my tummy tingling, and no, I didn't have to go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? So I'm here doing the sit-ups, visualizing it. 50, 100, 125, 150, and so on and so on and so on, until I got to 300. What happened? I got up from my bed, and I kid you not, I felt my tummy burning like I did sit-ups, like I was exercising for like about an hour, 2 hours. I felt my tummy burning, and I joked around, and I said, you know what? I don't even need to spend $35 a month on a gym membership when I can just go to the gym in my mind. You know what I mean? But all kidding aside, I was like, wow. Think of that. think of that for a moment. I did that in my mind, 300 sit-ups, and my body, my physical body in my real life, in my waking state, was feeling the effects of that, what I was visualizing. So I was just like blown away by that. So remember, when mind, body, and soul are interacting with one another, when they're all coinciding with one another, what can we do? I think we can do wondrous things. But again, we've been held into that belief. Oh no, this is impossible, right? Because it's on TV. You know what? You saw that on TV, so it's impossible. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of that programming that goes on that goes into our minds. Oh, that's impossible. This is impossible because that was on TV. But I'm saying no. A lot of the things that we are gonna be seeing, I think, within the next little while, or maybe a few years down the road, I think we're gonna be blown away, ladies and gentlemen, at the things that are gonna be coming out into the public. Technologies, and we're seeing it. Remember with the UFOs? I don't know. You guys remember seeing the UFOs, right? Prop, what are your thoughts on the UFOs?
Mm. What would be a question about it? What would be a question? Well, what's your question about the UFOs? I have a few things to say, but it depends on what your question is.
Well, we're seeing it. Like, okay, do you think that there's gonna be disclosure soon with UFOs?
I think that there already has been. I mean, for the fact that at least some of us would say, okay, this is what a UFO looks like, or you, the term UFO actually exists. So I guess that right there is disclosure enough to say, well, I guess one thing or another, or it could be either one way or another, where a person would say, I believe in UFOs, or I do believe in UFOs. Um, as far as disclosure, I just think again, we already have it. As far as thinking that there could be life that has been existing, that has been visiting us. Some say they're multidimensional. I don't know, but the uh, the information is there that states that there are other life forms out there that fly these vehicles that we call UFOs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Excuse me. I was so ecstatic when I heard that a while back. Remember, it was about a few months ago. It was trending on Twitter, UFO 2020, and CNN. A lot of mainstream media outlets were reporting that UFOs. Oh, that there was a fighter plane showing video of UFOs, right? And it was trending on Twitter. And you know what? I was so ecstatic, and I kind of felt a little bit of vindication because here's the thing. I remember when I was a kid, I was totally into UFOs. I watched X Files on a Friday night. I would watch sightings. I was totally into UFOs. I was so intrigued. I knew they existed. I would always say they existed, and I would get mocked at. I would get laughed at. They're like, "Hey, conspiracy theorist, tinfoil hat, tinfoil hat." You know what I mean? And I was like, being young, you kind of you remember that, right? So then as I got older, I'm like thinking, I did more research. I was intrigued, right? So when this was trending on Twitter, that this fighter pilot had video footage of a UFO or UAP, as they're calling it, I was so giddy because some of the people on Twitter were like, "Oh my gosh, UFO!" I was like, and I was joking. I was like, I was laughing. You know what I mean? Because I was like, yeah, we knew this a long time ago. Hey, remember? A lot of people were calling us crazy. The conspiracy theorists. You know what I mean? What are they saying now? Mainstream news was the first one to mock anyone who talked about UFOs, UAPs. You know what I mean? Because that was the narrative they were pushing, and a lot of people fed into that, right? But and then just most recently, the Pentagon was actually talking about they were gonna they had information about these UFOs, UAPs not being of this world, which is huge in the community of UFOs. You know what I mean? And to see that, I think we're gonna, like you said, like you were saying, I think it's being given to us as a soft disclosure because with everything that's going on and everything that a lot of things that are going to go are starting to happen, a lot of people won't be able to process this information. So it's being slowly dripped to them, to the public, right? But anyhow, let's go through some of the member comments, member posts, and thank you for the thumbs up, everybody. Um, let's see, we have about 10 hearts, 10 thumbs up. Thank you very much for checking out the broadcast. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, sorry, I got something in my throat here. Sorry. Prop, you want to take over for a bit? I got a drink of water. I got.
Oh, don't worry, I got your back. I know the cat got your tongue, so I'm gonna put that cat in check. Thank you, everybody, for coming through, checking in. Check this out. This is Propagate This Light. Thank you, Simon, for checking, doing the work that you do. Don't know you personally, but thank you for holding it down for my homie right here, Juanito. So if you have any questions, anybody, anything that you want to ask, feel free to drop in. And while Juanito goes get that glass of water. So, I talk about the nature of reality on my channel. I get into some personal ME effects, personal experiences for the most part. You know, um, I'm happy to have a few people to talk to about it. So that's what the channel is about. It's not about creating a channel. It's pretty much uh, being able to conversate with different people that have some of the similar things going on that I had going on. And I feel it's a positive thing. I try my best to spread positivity through the art that I create, um, which will be the streams that I do, the music podcast and the whatnot. And it's all positive as far as I'm trying to do it that way. All right, all
Okay.
right.
Okay. Sorry, I had something in my throat. I need some water.
Oh yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Uh,
Okay, so let's go through some of the comments, member posts. Dun, 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 dun. And I thank you for doing this podcast. It's like, and here's the thing: I encourage a lot of the members also if they want to come on board, and because what we want to try to do is have more interaction with the members. So if they want to share their stories, their experiences, their advice, um, if they'd like, just let one of the admins know, or send an instant message if you want to be part of the podcast or what have you. um yeah, so let's see, I'm gonna scroll down here. So here was a question, actually. It's funny that we were mentioning the entities, or what's that thing, the the shadow person or whatever. One of the questions is, can astral projection make you see bad spirits, entities, and ghosts in the real world? In the real world? Mm. Have you seen anything, Prop, when you astral project and you wake up in the real world? You haven't noticed anything out of the ordinary, right?
that's funny because yeah, when you're over there, that is more of the real world than what was called the physical world here. Where you're inside of your body and you're interacting with that environment. From what I gather, over there is the real world. But um, I think the chair is asking me a question. So I'm gonna answer.
Sorry about my squeaky chair. Gotta
No,
put
it's all.
some W.
Oh yeah,
I
it's all
gotta put
good.
some WD-40 on that chair.
It's all good. I mean, the chair had a valid question, so I'm gonna answer that later. Um. Uh. So yeah. Um. Where was I at? Okay. Okay, let's backtrack here. What was the question again? Yeah, I have seen things. As far as being out of body, I've experienced different things, but I've have seen things while being in what is called the real world. I've seen things that way as well. And this had nothing to do with being out of body or anything like that. I'm just hanging out, and then see something, or when I come back, when I came back into my body, some of the experiences I've had, I didn't see nothing right away at that point. I just ended up being back, and that's that. But I have had seen things that I guess you could say were not supposed to be there. I guess you could say, or
Hmm.
of a spiritual nature. I've seen things of a spiritual nature. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, like in my out of bodies, there were some times where I would see shadow people and all that. A lot of members have that question. Oh, how do you uh, block them, or how do you like uh, shoo them away from you, or so to speak? Um, for me, it's like what I end up doing is surrounding myself with white light. So basically, the white light from within, I just use I'll just use the affirmation energy now, and I'll create like a cocoon of white light around myself, or a bubble of white light, and they seem to back away. They always back away. Sometimes they persist, and it's kind of annoying, but I'll shine like a white light from my hands. Sort of like what's that cartoon? Hadouken. I forget the name of that. Or Dragon Ball Z. Sounds funny when you say when I describe it like that. But yeah, when I'm in the astral, like I'll use an energy now affirmation, and a burst of light, heat come from within my hands. I find it amazing because it's just like wow, to experience that when you're in the astral and you're feeling the intensity of the heat and the light. It's like wow. You ever felt that, prop?
I felt this light, not the light, and I was just joking. Um, I've never had that a spiritual experience where I've created a cocoon of white light or anything like that. Um, but I've experienced a situation where I just try to keep myself positive and things, and surrounded by positivity, and I felt that I was protected more than a few times in my life by what could be cocooning me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Let's see. You heard of the Remy mask?
The Remy mask, is that Remy mask?
REMEE.
No, I haven't heard of it.
Oh, we have one of the members asking the question, or she's saying, my Remy Lucid Dream mask finally arrived. Does anyone have any experience with that? Sorry, with these that can give me any tips? I read I have read all the negative reviews on this and understand they don't work for everyone, but I thought I'd give it a test run since they do help me with astral projection. Any thoughts? Now, for me, um, any device like electronic device, I don't, I don't like it. In my like, everybody's different. Everybody has their little, you know, process and how to do things. I don't enjoy it. Like for instance, um, putting earbuds in the ears and listening to binaural beats. I've tried that. I don't like it because it bugs me when I have the earbuds because I could feel the earbuds moving around. So, like for me, I just prefer natural meditation. And when I'm doing the out of body experiences, excuse me. So, for instance, having this mask. So basically, this mask is a mask that goes over your eyes, and it says Remy on the front, and it has 3 sets of lights on the left side, 3 sets of lights on the right side, and I'm thinking that these lights kind of blink. I would find that annoying, to be frank. I'm like, I'm not sticking. You know what I mean? If I want to cover my eyes, I'll wear a toque and I'll put it over my eyes, but no lights, no nothing like that.
Mm. It sounds like it's mimicking that field of people see lights when they're meditating. So, or some people have experienced seeing blinking lights. It seems like it's trying to mimic that and to bring that on, bring that on faster, I guess.
Yeah, I could see that. But for me, I just like I prefer natural, like no blinking. Like even when I'm astral projecting, I'm trying to astral project. Um, Sometimes there'll be like light coming from the outside, and it bugs me. So I'll just what I end up doing. I just put a toque on and I cover my eyes. No light though. So it blocks out you know the light. Question: I wanted to ask you: have you ever dreamt about celebrities in your dreams?
Um, a lot, and it's weird because I wouldn't call it dreaming about, but I know what you mean. But when I think about the experience, is it's more like they ju- it's like they just appear there. It's not like I'm purposely dreaming about them because I was just watching the movie or something like that. They were just they used to just appear there. So yeah, I have had um moments where they're in my dream space.
The reason I ask is I don't know, you've seen my channel, right? Or we've talked about it in the Rip and Rabbit room. About I have a lot of celebrity dreams. I don't know why. Um, I remember when I said, "Oh, hey, Twitter is like, or the astral world or the dream world is like Twitter." You know what I mean? So what if you do interact with some of these celebrities on the astral plane and you don't even know it? You know what I mean? So I always seem to have this dream. Well, I always seem to dream about Lady Gaga. I've had like 8 dreams and they're really ominous, I tell you. And it's just like, damn, you know, which makes me wonder, why do I get all these celebrity dreams? Like, for instance, here's the thing. I had one recently about Miley Cyrus. Okay. I don't know if I told you this one, where I was in the dream, I was picking up some boxes, rearranging my room, some kind of room, wasn't familiar to me. But all of a sudden, I can hear somebody like in a somber kind of depressed kind of mood. I'm hearing this voice in the dream. And I'm looking around and I'm like thinking, where the hell is that voice coming from? So they were sad again. They were saying, "Oh, is anybody can you hear me?" That's what the voice was saying. And I was like, "Who is that? Where are you coming from? What are you doing?" And this individual in the dream was like, "Oh, you can hear me?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Where are you?" And then the voice, excuse me, sorry, the voice was distinct because Hannah Montana, you can tell the accent, the kind of voice she has. And in the dream, I knew, I didn't see her, but I knew it was the voice of Hannah Montana, not Hannah Montana, but Miley Cyrus. And I was like, Miley Cyrus? And I was like, where are you? And in the dream, she says, "Oh, I am she did something, that she was feeling depression, and she was pretty much in jail or locked up. And I was like, oh, what did you do? Like, what do you want to elaborate? She didn't want to elaborate. But I thought this was crazy. This was a crazy dream. So in the dream, we were having a telepathic communication. So when I came back from this dream, part of me was thinking, what if I tapped into, the different parts of the mind where what I was experiencing did actually happen? Do you know what I mean? Makes you wonder.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. You never know. That's why it's good to do, qualitative research, reach out and to see what's what, because maybe those pieces will come together for us so we understand things better. But I do know that Lady Gaga, she loves cats. Just joking.
Well, here's the thing. There was one dream that I had, which was, I thought, amazing and ominous at the same time. Because in the dream, I'm waking up in my room and I'm seeing my room the way it is, and I'm hearing footsteps coming down to my room. And I'm thinking, wait, who the hell's coming down my stairs? And it was multiple footsteps. So I see 3 women in my room. 2 were unknown. The other one was JLo. You know what I mean? So first reaction was like, JLo? I'm like, what are you doing in my basement? That was the initial reaction. And this is what in the dream happened. She's like, oh, there have been a lot of people talking about what you can do. So I wanted to see for myself in what you can do. That took me aback when I was experiencing this dream, because I was like, wait, what do you mean what I can do? And she's like, again, a lot of people have been saying what you can do, so I wanted to see for myself. And then I was like, oh, that's what you mean. So that's when I went over to her in the dream and I placed my hand on her shoulder and I used the energy now affirmation, as I mentioned a while back. So that burst of heat, light was coming out of my hand, and I placed it on her shoulder. I placed it on her shoulder, and a swirl of energy in the dream was intertwining her and myself, and we were feeling. I was feeling bliss, tranquility, serenity, euphoria. All these beautiful feelings of ecstasy, so to speak. So it was dissipating, and she looked at me and she nodded, okay. And then she went away, and I woke up from my dream. And when I woke up from my dream, I had that same feeling of all that ecstasy, bliss, euphoria, tranquility, serenity in my heart. When I woke up, I was like, holy crap.
Man, oh man. Sound pretty lucky right there, man. It's like if I had Holly Berry in my basement, I mean, I'm not a monster, but I'm pretty sure we'll have a ball.
Oh, brother. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that one. Um, that's a classic line right there. Simon says some of the more expensive ones are supposed to register when you are in the REM state, then begin to flash. I've heard. Yeah, getting back to that, I can't. The Fitbits, the Remy mask. I can't. Even with like okay, you know what? Sometimes what I'll do is I'll put my iPod. I still have the iPod, for crying out loud. It's like 10 years old, 15 years old, I think that is. But I have an app on there which is waterfalls. You know what I mean? So I'll play the waterfalls as I'm falling asleep, and it's good. It feels nice.
That sounds good. That sounds good. I might have to play some TLC before I go to sleep.
Oh, you know what? Have you ever had a dream though? Like for instance, just say if you watch something on YouTube or whatever, and then you go to sleep and you dream of that person that you've just finished watching and all that. I had that happen. I don't know if I told you this one, Prop, about Marina Abramovich.
Um, I think I heard that. Oh, go ahead. Explain that one. I think I heard a little bit of that.
Yeah, so basically in the dream I had just finished watching some like YouTube videos about Marina Abramovich, and I ended up going to sleep. Okay. So I wake up in my dream and I'm in an auditorium. I'm the observer in the dream, and there's like a table in front of me with three people. They were sort of like dressed in like uniform kind of attire. And I'm looking at the stage and I see Marina Abramovich. For those who don't know who Marina Abramovich is, look it up. She's very menacing. She did a performance art where she would stare into people's eyes, just stare in their eyes. And for those who don't know who Marina Abramovich is, look up Spirit Cooking Marina Abramovich and you'll know why it was very ominous. So in the dream, I'm moving to my left and her eyes follow me in where I'm going. I move to my right. She follows me where I'm going. And I was getting uncomfortable. I was like, oh, good Lord, she can see me. And then I was moving a little to my left again. And her eyes were fixated on me, just like in that performance art that she's done. She's made people cry in those performance art, which is scary because a lot of people know what Marina Abramovich is allegedly involved with. In so I had enough. I said I can't take it because it was like the death stare in the dream. So I left. But before that, though, in this dream, she was getting tried for something. It was a trial. So I said, okay, enough. I wanted to leave. So I'm walking on a street, and all of a sudden, there there was this presence, powerful presence that was following me. And I look back, and it's Marina Abramovich. She was ready to pounce on me in the dream. And what happened was, just as she was about to pounce on me, there was like a light being that materialized out of nowhere, orbed in, so to speak. And just as she was about to pounce, that orb being, that light being, prevented her from pouncing on me. And I was like taken aback by that. I was like, oh, wow. So I continued to run or walk faster. And she veered over to try to get to me again. And then she was going to pounce on me, like attack me. And another white light being, white lighter, I guess you can call it, so to speak, materialized and prevented her from pouncing on me. And then the next one, again, I'm walking faster and she tried to do it again. And another white lighter materialized and said, no, you can't, you can't pounce on him. And then that's when I woke up. I was like, holy crap, man.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. That's why I try to keep my energy at a certain way because I feel that well, like you said, you were watching it on TV, so and that's my thing with that too as well. You gotta um I started to watch what I watch. You know what I'm saying? Um, and that's probably why I don't really interact with the celebrities that appear in my dream space. Because I guess mentally, I may not be that close to them, if that makes any sense. But I guess being that you were watching, it brought your energy closer to that energy. Maybe that's what it was. But what do you think about that?
That's an interesting point. I could see that. I could totally see that. But remember that analogy that I used about Twitter? Like you said, I was watching uh, stuff on relating to her in the YouTube video, and what if, like you said, that energy brought me close to her in the dream, so to speak. So I was interacting with her in the dream. You know what I mean? I was like, damn, I never do I want to have that dream again involving Marina Abramovich, man. No way. Ominous.
I mean, I feel that it could have been Bob Hope if we were watching a telethon or anything like that. It could have brought you in, and I think that's how powerful that we are. We're that powerful to where we could, like you said earlier, manifest certain things, and or we could end up in a certain dream space or similar energy. And you never know. We like you said, it's expansive, so we don't know if it's something else showing itself as that person, or maybe it's a part of you that's teaching you a lesson through the visuals of what you've seen previous to you dreaming.
That's an interesting one. Hey, funny that you mentioned Halle Berry, the Halle Berry dream, or
Right.
did I tell you about the Kate Upton one?
No, I haven't heard that one.
See, here's the thing. I didn't set out to dream about Kate Upton, man. I tell you, in the dream, it was funny. I tell you, in the dream, I was driving, or I was at the wheel of my sister's car. I don't even have a license in real time, in real life. You know what I mean? So as I'm experiencing this, I was looking around. I'm like, wait, this is my sister's car. And in the dream, I was waiting for my blind date. All right. So I look to my left, and I kid you not, in slow motion. You know what I mean? You've seen the movies where a hot, attractive woman is approaching, and she's doing the slow motion thing, and everybody's like in awe. That's what I was experiencing in the dream. So I'm here looking, and it's Kate Upton approaching the car, and I'm in awe. I was like, oh, wait, what? So she knocks on the window, and she signals, "Can you roll down the window?" And I'm like, okay, I roll down the window. So she's like, "Are you here for the blind date?" And I'm thinking, so apparently my blind date was Kate Upton. And it was funny because I asked her in the dream, aren't you? And she's like, yeah. So I asked her, why are you looking for a blind date? You're Kate Upton. You know what? You don't have any problems meeting guys. She's like, oh, because all the other guys are looking for one thing. All right. So I get out of the car and I open the door for her. So she enters the car and we go to a restaurant. And in the restaurant, we're talking, we're having intimate dinner, right? Intimate dinner. And she, in the dream, was conversing. And then all of a sudden, my phone went off in the dream. And she looked at me like, don't you answer that phone. But I answered the phone because it was business. Somebody needed me at the business that I was in. And she was so pissed in the dream. So I went to the place where I needed to tend to business. And these people wanted to kill me in the dream. They were shooting at me. And they were like literally in the dream. You see, like the Matrix style, there were bullets flying and I was avoiding them, sorry, and then jumping out. And all I could think about was getting back to my dinner with Kate Upton in the dream. And here I am. So I'm running down the stairs and I'm rushing back to the restaurant, and that's all I could think about was getting back to dinner. So I look at the table, and who do you think I see sitting with Kate Upton having dinner? My landlord. I was laughing in the dream, and I was pissed because I was like, what are you doing? I was supposed to have dinner with Kate Upton." And the lesson of the day, or the lesson learned in the dream, was whenever you pick up a phone, dream or in real life, and if you're having dinner with Kate Upton, don't answer the phone. That was the lesson.
Hmm. It sounds like you may be following a few female celebrities there, huh?
I didn't set out the intent to dream about her. I was laughing. You know, I've even dreamt about The Rock, for crying out loud. I'm like, damn, I even wrestled The Rock in a dream. I could feel the pain. Like, when he does his the slaps on the chest, I was feeling it in the dreams. I was like, wow. It was so intense. And that was funny because I was joking. Oh, it's like I had a dream match, literally a dream match with The Rock.
Hmm. Okay, okay. Well, yeah. Yeah, it sounds like you're are you following like some celebrities like The Rock or whatever? Are you like do you follow like a lot of what they do, or do you watch a lot of movies, or
Well,
are these dreams happening just it seem like out of nowhere? Because I was just going off of what you said earlier where you were watching someone on TV.
out of nowhere. I see. The thing is that, like, I've had these dreams like a while ago, right? And to the point where, yeah, you know what? Back then, I'd watch. We would watch Fast and the Furious. I would watch WWE. But as more research that you do, the more digging that you do about Hollywood and all that, I I sort of started not watching WWE anymore. I stopped watching wrestling. I really don't have the desire to watch Netflix anymore because a lot of the things that is coming out, so to speak, with all these celebrities and everything like that. Um, it just don't have the desire to watch those things anymore. I'll still watch them from time to time, but you know,
Right, right. I hear you. I hear you. Um, yeah, it just uh me personally, I've had a few in my dream space, but I never really interacted with them. Um, so that's with me. I do follow a few people. I wouldn't say follow, but I might pick into information here and there. You know, and it's funny because we're all human beings and we're all people. We're all celebrities. Within ourselves. You're a celebrity in your own right. You're doing your thing the way you do it, and you have a good voice and presentation, and people are following you. You have so many members in your group, so you could be a celebrity to somebody else as well, right? Um, and I follow certain people too that go into the direction that I will want my consciousness to be attached to. Um, and I follow what you do, so I appreciate what you have to offer. It's similar to what I've been going through with the out of body stuff as well. That's the information that I like to dig into right there, because it will manifest into more knowledge, hopefully, so I can better understand what that's about. So I appreciate what you have to offer on that.
oh, thank you. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you, offering to interview me a while back. It's funny that you mentioned the manifest, because remember when we were talking about the DVD, The Secret, and manifesting. Um, like I said, I think we can do so much, right? And when you are on that right frequency of abundance, I think you can materialize things in this reality. Again, I think we've been held numb, dumb, and then some in believing that we can't do none of this stuff, right? But you have DVDs like The Secret or What the Bleep Do We Know, just other books out there that talks about consciousness expansion. That when they say the sky's the limit. No, I think you can go well beyond that limit, right? For instance, when I was on the right, and here's the thing, you can, when you're on that right frequency, how you have those synchronicities like 1111, just the synchronicities, and you're like, wow, it leaves you in awe. You just know, right? So for instance, when I started learning how to manifest, things were coming to me like I kid you not. It was like I was receiving abundance. Not that I was going out and saying, "Oh, I want money, I want money, I want money." I was doing this just to see like consciousness expansion. How what can we do with this? So I did it as a test. So I would visualize myself holding a check for $100,000 just as a test. I wasn't doing it because I wanted money. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say money. I would say more abundance, because I think each and every one of us in this world deserves to be abundant, right? I don't think we were meant in this world to be suffering, working 8 hours a day, slaving away. You know what I mean? I think we were all meant to be prosperous. But getting to the point, I did that for 2 weeks, every day for 2 weeks. And what happened was I ended up winning 4 different times in the sports lottery here in Canada. We have a sports lottery, and I won like $8,800. And my coworkers were like, "Juan, what the hell?" They were throwing money at me. They're like, "Juan, what were you doing? What are you doing?" So I told them about The Secret, manifesting the DVD. And they're like, "Juan, make me a copy of that." They're like, "Make me a copy of that. I want to see that DVD." And it was funny because one of my coworkers had joined me in that lottery pool with the sports. So they ended up making 4,400 because we won 8,800. So he made 4,400. So he was laughing. He's like, "Juan, whatever you're doing, keep doing it." You know what I mean? But that's the thing. A lot more people wanted in on that. They're like, "Oh, Juan, whatever you're doing here," they were giving me money. They were saying, "Oh, here, this." And you know what happened? All of a sudden it stopped. So what I was thinking, I was like, maybe I was bringing their energy into my bubble of energy. Do you know what I mean? So maybe they didn't believe. They were just like, their frequency was not jiving with my frequency. So maybe I had to stop. I was like, oh no, I couldn't do that anymore. I was like, for myself, yeah, not to sound selfish. I wasn't being selfish. Heck, hey, you know what? I would be like making DVDs and giving them to people, and I was telling them, I was so excited. I'm like talking about, yeah, you can do this too. Anybody can do this, right? So here's the thing: does money fall from the sky? Could money fall from the sky? Right? Can you manifest money falling from the sky? So what happened? And I'm not lying when I tell you this. This happened 100%. I was walking out of my work, right? My job. It was like maybe 3 years ago, I guess. And it was a windy day. And I looked around. Nobody was around. It was so windy. And I'm looking up at the sky. And what do you think I see? $20 bill. And my eyes were fixated on it. I was like, I'm not looking at what I think I'm looking at. $20 bill. I could see it in the sky. It was like maybe 100 meters or 100. It was a great distance, pretty much, in the sky. And I'm like thinking, wait, that's $20 in the sky, literally blowing around. I'm like, oh my God, I kid you not. And I'm looking around. Is this actually happening? I said. And I kid you not, that $20 bill fell into my hand. If I had a damn camera to record that, it would have been classic, because I didn't have my phone with me, but I was like, holy crap, that's $20 bill flying around in the sky. and I stuck out my hand. I put out my hand, and it fell into my hand. I was literally mind blown. Okay, literally mind blown, because you know the saying, "Does money fall from the sky?" It did in this case. I was like, this didn't happen. So I took two more steps, and what do you think I see under my shoe? $10. I was like literally $30 in my hand. I picked it up. I picked up the 10, and I looked around to see. I was like, if anybody else saw this, what I was experiencing. Nobody was around. I was the only one, because I was thinking, oh hey, maybe it belongs to somebody. Somebody dropped it, you know. So I would want to return it to them, but nobody was around, and it blew me away.
It almost seems like the money came from the sky. Were there any buildings near you?
Yeah, there's tons of buildings like work. There's like there was my job. There's uh, I'm sure maybe it fell out of somebody's you know pocket or something, but the most interesting thing is just it fell into my hand. I was like, what? I was like, damn. I'm like, who's writing this script? I wasn't complaining. I was like, thank you. So basically, I was saying thank you to the universe.
Right, right. But logically, we think, okay, where did it come from? First, the $20 fell out the sky. Then you found the 20. You walked 2 paces and it was under your shoe. That's why I said it sounds like it all came from the sky logically. Like maybe he said it fell out of someone's pocket. Maybe it could have been anything, right? It could have been like somebody somehow dropped it out of a window and it all fell. The 10 is actually fell first, or it could be so many different possibilities. You know what I mean? And then the 20 came falling down. I don't know, but what's weird is, like you said, who's writing the script? I think that we're the ones that's writing the script because uh, you previously thought that, and then it happened. But logically, we try to put things together logically. Like, how could it just happen logically? Or like you said, you looked around, there's nobody there, it's only you. Um, Maybe because in that vision that you thought of before it happened, you thought of it only being you there, and it really doesn't matter how it happens. It's just that it happens. Um, it seems like it's happening literally out the blue, and there's no logic to it. It just happens, and that is a good experience. I like that, man. I like that. That's crazy that the money actually literally fell out of the sky and fell into your hand. It's like you're writing the script. We're writing the script, um, manifesting things happening. I love it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, so that I knew I was on the right frequency when all this was happening, because I was just like, and there's a certain visualization technique that I learned. I forget where I learned it, because I want to give them credit where I learned it from. But I saw the visualization of where you visualize a magnet, okay, right? And you're holding the magnet. So you hold one in your hand, left hand, one in your right hand, and then a magnet right at the crown of your head, right? So basically you can visualize the magnet, whatever, visualization you want to do, but in the process, just as a test, I was doing the visualization of coins hitting the magnet. So basically the coins were ding 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 ding, clink 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 onto the magnet, right? And onto the other magnet. And then the forehead was, more knowledge as opposed to coins. You know what I mean? So that's what was my visualization technique. I forget again. I forget where I saw that. Um, you could probably Google that and find it. But stuff like that, right? It's really interesting at what can happen.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. Um, with what you're talking about, I've seen videos like that, and I'm like, I can't do that. Doing all this tapping and things like that to try to But certain things work for certain people. Um, and it's cool if it works for you. It works for you. You know. But I've had something similar with the money situation, like this money experience that you had. Um, and it's dealing with manifestation. I mean, when it comes down to it, aside from the experience of me expressing what the experience was, I think that it just comes back to like us. We are the ones that's writing the script. I'm still trying to understand it. I don't have all the answers, but I've had moments where I would think of something that I will want, and then I will end up in that situation. And I've heard someone say recently that how come we always remembering the things that we don't like over the things that we like, and it's like we inadvertently manifest the things that we don't want to happen. And that's the hard part for me, and I guess for some other people as well, from what I've heard, is to always lean on what you want to happen. One of the things that I do is I pray a lot, and I always say, like, when I think of a thought that pops into my head, and it's a situation that I don't want to happen, I will tell my higher self and God that I don't want that to happen. Or I would say that, from now on, if it's something that I don't want to happen, I just don't want it to happen. Because I feel like I might slip up and not say anything. Like I don't want it to happen, and it would just inadvertently happen. It's just something that I go through personally. Maybe I'm doing too much, but I just want to end up in the positive, on the positive side of things. So I try to, like I said, pick into what I feel is positivity, what I want to learn more about. Um, that's leaning more towards a positive direction. I mean, I know there's a lot going on. There's always been a lot going on, at least from my opinion. But it just depends on what you're focused on. Because I don't want that stuff in my dream space, and I don't want to inadvertently, manifest the things that I don't want. You know what I'm saying? And that's why my name is what it is. Propagate. The reason why I call myself Propagate this light online is because um, I'm I'm into promotion as well, right? So when I promote what I create, like I said earlier, music podcasts or photo editing or whatnot, and now I'm doing the live streams on my channel. Um, when I put the link next to my name, let's say if I go on Twitter and I post a link, it will say propagate this light, and then it will have the link. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of like makes sense in that way. And I try my best to just put out positive, something that's positive, something that's soul food that will feed your soul. You know what I'm saying? And it'll make you feel good. That's what I lean on the most. Um,
Definitely, I totally agree.
yeah, yeah,
So, for instance, remember getting back to the sit-ups that I was doing, or the sit-ups in the visualization, and then I felt the burn, I guess, so to speak, in my tummy. So,
right,
like, what if we focus, like, for instance, you know how you cut yourself? Sometimes we cut ourselves by accident, right? So, for instance, there's a wound on your hand or leg, or you get cut or whatever. Now, for instance, what if we were to visualize? What if we could speed heal ourselves? You know what I mean? By visualizing our mind, our consciousness on that cut. So, like, remember how I did that visualization of me doing the sit ups and I was feeling the burn within my tummy, but I wasn't doing anything. I was lying in my bed and I was visualizing it in my mind. So, what if, like I said, when you get injured or when you cut yourself or whatever, you what if you can speed that process by accelerating it using your mind and your consciousness, mind, body, and soul all acting in one. um so, like, for instance, because like, if you experience or you cut yourself, what is the I forget, what is the thing, I don't know if that makes sense, what is the thing that heals that cut? You know what I mean? So if you focus the intent on that cut and healing it, speed healing it, like, like, just like the sit-ups, you felt that manifestation or I felt that manifestation in my stomach as I was visualizing it, right? So you know what I mean? So like what if we could heal ourselves if we set the intent and have that belief? Like cuz I heard a lot of people in the group or just in general like YouTube videos or other videos talking about how people have cured themselves of so many things, right? Like certain ailments, certain diseases, right? Why? Maybe because they had that belief. You know that there's that placebo effect, right? Some people have been given a placebo effect and they healed themselves of an ailment. So, what if what is called the placebo effect is just another term for, hey, you know what? Our minds are more powerful than anyone can ever imagine. Like, have you ever seen Lucy, that movie Lucy with Scarlett Johansson? We only use what, 10%, 5% of our brain, right? Uh, so what if we were to tap in fully to that, maybe even 15, 20%, we'd be able to do so many beautiful things, wonderful things, like heal ourselves, heal others. And that's what I think, like I said, we were meant to do in this world, like heal others, be kind to one another, you know, just like, you know, bringing prosperity to one another.
Right, right. Yeah, that's all I was saying earlier. You know, for me, I had to remove a lot of the surface in order to get to the what's behind the surface, bring that forward to the front, and just focus on feeding that right there. And if we could, focus on our cuts and to know what that is that heals uh, a cut, and focus on that one thing. Maybe it's the red blood cells that we focus on. Maybe it's the collagen. You know what I mean? That the blood cells create. That creates the foundation for the new tissue. Maybe we need to focus on the collagen or the red blood cells to be stronger. It's all, like you said, it's all a part of us, mind, body, and spirit. And maybe it is the a different effect to where you believe that you can do it, and it just happens. Like you said earlier about the money falling out of the sky. Um, it actually happened. You know what I mean? And you didn't have to do much besides just think it, and you didn't have any worry about it. I'm assuming you didn't think about how it can't happen, but you just thought about it happening, and it just happened. And I think that's related to the spiritual abilities that we have. Like you said, we have this power. How do we get to it, and how do we stick on it? And again, I would say to get out of that survival mode. I know there's a lot going on. There's always been a lot going on, in my opinion. And this is what I think to myself all the time, is that if I allow that to distract me from my own spiritual abilities, then the time that I'm putting on that, I could be putting the time on being the greatest I could be, as far as feeding my who I am as a spirit, feeding that part, because I've been going a long time with feeding the surface. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm getting to the spirit, and now certain things that are happening that stand out, and I'm supposed to focus on that and just throw my whole eating process off. I'm like, nah, I can't do that. I can't do it. I gotta stay on the spiritual path. But it's good to be aware, though. I would say it's good to be aware, but me personally, I just don't want to put my focus on anything else other than what would feed me to being able to even notice my spiritual abilities, because I don't want to be here and then cross over and be like, man, there's so much I could have done. You know, I want to do it now, and so I can go further when I do cross over, whether it be temporarily or permanently.
I totally agree. It's like how there's a belief, or some people have the past lives, future lives, and all that. I find it interesting, reincarnation. If it actually exists. I've heard many interesting cases in regarding reincarnation. But for me, I want this to be my last kick at the can, so to speak, because I want to learn everything, anything, and everything that I have to learn in this incarnation, in this lifetime, so I don't have to come back in this, so to speak, realm. Like for me, I would like just say, the whole awakening, great awakening, 3D to 5D. It would be awesome to let's say graduate, so to speak, from this reality and like the ascension process, I guess, and become, like, for instance, a guide, a helper for other individuals, but not in this form as me doing the podcast. You know what I mean? Like right now, me talking to you. I mean, in a grander form, a greater form, where we we're ascended beings. We elevate our consciousness to 5D, where we have no ego, where we have no anger, where we don't get bitter. You know what I mean? So that's what is. I'm hoping that I'm able to learn everything that I need to learn and accomplish in this, in my time frame right now. You know what I mean? So like, hey, I want to write books in regards to astral projection. I want to do more podcasts. I want to create that 3D animation about astral projection, lucid dreaming. So that's what I think, and I'm hoping that this world is headed towards, where we won't have to worry about you know working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, or sorry, 40 hours a week, 5 days a week, where we are not paying taxes, where we are um, having that abundance, you know, and you know what I'm trying to say, right?
Definitely, more
Oh,
of living in the bliss of your desired reality, pretty much. But what I want to say about that is, so everything is just all good. Everything is just all good. Um, but there are things that are. Give me 1 second. There are things that are here that I do like. That if you're not careful, could send you in a different direction that the direction that you don't want to go. Let's say like maybe information about something, like let's say a fight or something like that, and I'm watching a video of two people fighting. I don't particularly get entertainment from that, but in a way, I'm getting entertained by it. But at the same time, I'm taking notes. If that sounds logical, I'm looking at it from a positive way, but I'm looking at it from a more of a aware perspective rather than to take it as just entertainment and then inadvertently manifest that into my life. So you just have to be very careful, I think. Um, but I guess the point I'm making is that there are certain things here that um, I get a feeling from that I like, but I don't think that it's healthy to really pig into it all the time, 24/7. Because I just don't want to really manifest that into my world. If that sounds logical.
oh, totally. I hear you. There's sometimes where I got to step back from like doing the research on all these sort of stuff, you know, that what we talk about, even though I find it interesting.
Right, right. Um, yeah. And then, so yeah, that's the channel. My channel is pretty much trying to keep it on the level of me just basically understanding what my spiritual abilities are and what other spiritual abilities other people have, and maybe I could make sense of everything. Um, that's what pretty much what I enjoy getting into. And then I come from the hip hop field of things as well, so a little bit of that is implemented into what I do as well.
So you're okay to go for 10 more minutes and then we'll call it a day?
Oh yeah, we can go. We can go as long as you want. It's all good.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to go through some of the remaining posts here. Let's see. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Try to answer it. Prop will try to answer it to the best of our ability. Yeah, if I can't answer it, maybe he can answer it, and vice versa. Let's see. Here's a question by Heart Prince. Someone help me. I keep falling asleep whenever I try to astral project. Some of the posts or the comments. Sit up, either use a recliner or prop yourself up with pillows. Synchronicity. You get that, prop?
Yeah, I got the question.
No, that was a comment from one of the post. The comment from the post. I was like, oh, bump
Oh,
synchronicity.
oh, it's from the synchronicity post. You're saying?
No, it's from the one that I read about. Heart Prince saying, "Someone help me! I keep falling asleep when I try to astral project."
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the comments. Was sit up, either use a recliner or prop yourself up with pillows. That's
Oh,
funny.
okay. How is that a synchronicity? Something happened on your end?
No, just prop.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, prop. Yeah, I heard it the first time. I was like, "Am I sure this is saying that?"
No, I wasn't saying it. It's actually a comment on the thing. I was like, yeah,
Right.
but bump, you know.
Prop. Yep, exactly. Use a propagate this light. But yeah, if there's any questions, it'll help me to better understand myself. I'll try to answer it best as I can from my experience or my perception.
Okey-dokey. Let's see. Here's a question that we always get. I don't know if I brought this up earlier in the broadcast. What is the difference between lucid dreaming and astral projection? You know what? For whatever reason, this question always goes south. Well, not really goes south, but it's a very popular question. It's because a lot of people have the, you know, uh, is it the same? Is it different? I kind of gotten to the point though where I just say enjoy it, whatever it is you're experiencing, a lucid dream, astral projection. Enjoy the experience, because I've had dreams that were so powerful they made me cry. It was impactful on me. You know what I mean? I've had dreams where, for instance, I'll use as an example. There was one dream I had where in the dream I was dreaming about my sister's friend who had passed away from a car accident in Italy when I was around 16. This happened like years ago, like I think in the 90s, like late 90s, I think. So in the dream, she's in a coffin. The coffin opens up and my sister's friend appears. My sister in the dream starts freaking out, crying. She's like, "Oh my God, you're alive! You're alive!" And then all of a sudden, she disappears in a split second, and then reappears on our side of the hill where we were standing. So she's approaching us in the dream, and she goes over to my sister and says, "I'm very happy for you. Congratulations! I'm very happy for you, and I'm very proud of you." And she gives her a hug. And my sister's frantic in the dream. And she's like, "Oh my God, you're alive, you're alive." And then she comes over to me in the dream and she tilts her head and she says, "Thank you, Juan." And she gives me a hug. I wake up from this dream and I'm like, oh my gosh, do I even tell my sister this? Because she had a hard time. I remember waking up to my sister crying when she got the news that her best friend died on vacation in Italy. And it was impactful on me because I was like, I didn't want to see my sister cry. I was like, oh my gosh, it was so sad, because I remember my sister's best friend. She would come over to the house. We'd talk. The bond between my sister and her friend, it was strong. And to get that news that she died, but anyhow, the I debated whether or not to tell my sister about the dream because I get a lot of these experiences. Okay, I get these a lot. Dreams, when someone passes away, I was like, it's almost like I know, you know. So what happened was, I asked my mom, should I tell her? Because I don't know how she's gonna react. Because I like trying to tell somebody about this dream that you had about their loved one. It can be a lot on them. I tell you, it's hard to deal with because you don't want to bring back memories, bad memories from them. But I think this was a positive one. And my mom said, yeah, okay, tell her. Tell her. So I did. And I was telling my sister the dream. And you can see my sister's eyes getting watery. And my eyes were getting watery. So I told her the dream. And my sister says, thank you, Juan. And I was like, okay, no problem. But what my sister said, I was taken aback what she said. She's like, that the day that you had that dream was the anniversary of her passing. I didn't know that. So my sister had gone to the cemetery with her husband. So she was speaking to the tombstone. She was speaking to Emily. That's her name. That was her name. And she had placed a rose on the tombstone. And she introduced her husband, my brother-in-law, to Emily and all that. And I was like, oh my gosh. So my sister was just blown away by that. I was like, oh boy. And I felt relief, because I had that dream. So it's like a message that I was getting from Emily to tell my sister. You know what I mean? And that was impactful on me and her as well. So yeah, I thought I'd share that.
Right.
And yeah.
Right. Yeah. Very, very powerful situation experience there. Yeah. I mean, and it's hard to talk about or hard to break down situations like these because all you could do is tell somebody, but they don't actually feel it. They didn't actually experience it like you did, like the money falling out the sky. You just actually have to put yourself there and be like, yeah, I get it. But, for one, I've had experiences as well. Hard to really, all you have to try to break it down. But one experience dealing with money I've had, is off the subject of what you're talking about, but it's back on the whole money thing. Um, I did a, okay, well, I, before this incident happened, I was thinking about, I was actually watching some videos and things and seeing some rappers, holding bars of money and things of this nature. Um, and so that was in my mind. I guess you could say it was imprinted in my mind. So then I thought to myself, I said, man, I wouldn't mind seeing that in person, like a big stack of money. But not only that, that person would give me a lot of money for something. So maybe a couple of days passed, and I was doing a service for somebody, and at the end of that service, they gave me $100 tip. But it's not only that; it's that that's what I envisioned before it happened. And when they gave it to me, they showed me this big wad of money that they had. And then it just hit me like, wait a minute, I envisioned this before it even happened. But it's one of those things, it's like, this doesn't usually happen, you know, um, money falling out of the sky or things of that nature. But it actually happened before it happened by me envisioning it. That is so crazy that we can have these stories that happen. I think that anybody could manifest what they want. They just have to take away the things that they don't like or don't want that make them feel bad. Just take that stuff away, and just try, to get into that good feeling vibe. And I think that that's part of the tool that that makes something manifest that you like.
That's an awesome story. I totally dig it. Alrighty. So I wanted to thank you, Propagate This Light, for joining us in the Astral Projection Group live, uh, to Out of Body Experience TV. And I wanted to, you know, welcome you back. If you ever wanted to do another podcast, if you want to do a podcast on here, feel free. And to the other members as well, if you we encourage it as well. So if you would like to join part of the podcast or be a guest on one of the podcasts, um, feel free. It's like we encourage to share the stories. Give your feedback, give your insights. Yeah. So again, thank you once again. Do you want to plug your YouTube channel one more time?
Yeah, it doesn't have actual channel name, so I couldn't tell you it's channelname.com. But if you type in Propagate This Light in the YouTube search bar, you should get my icon coming up, and there you have it right there. Or, you can go to my website, propagatelight.blogspot.com, and there you will find a lot of my creative works and also be a link to my YouTube.
Okie dokie, everybody. Well, thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the hearts. We appreciate it. And again, Propagate This Light, thank you for joining us for 2.5 hours. Wow. It doesn't seem like 2.5 hours.
I know that's crazy, but I appreciate being here, and thank you to all y'all listening. And got a comment says enjoyed every perception of you. Thank you, and I thank you for listening. Thank you for having me. Rocksteady.
Thank you. Thank you, Selena, for the comment. Yeah, if you would like to be a part of the podcast, let us know. We like to do podcasts. Sometimes we don't announce them. Sometimes we'll announce them like half hour or an hour before we go to live broadcast. So let us know. Maybe you want to share your experiences or your thoughts, your perceptions as well. We like to hear different perceptions, opinions. It's a great topic for debate, And yeah, so on that note, everybody, just wanted to wish everybody, uh, stay safe and safe travels, happy travels, and happy dreams, sweet dreams, on all that jazz. Have a good one.
Rocksteady.